What's up, Addicts? We're back at it again with a comic review.
We are.
This is Birthright Volume 1. This is a series that I read probably a month ago, or maybe 3 weeks ago. Josh read it quite a while back. Since we're doing a comic week this week, we wanted to continue, or end, or begin. I don't know which one this is.
Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle.
We're still figuring it out ourselves.
Yeah, but we wanted to bring you another review. This is another series. Fantasy elements in this series. We do have it in a modern world for the most part, and it has two storylines, one with fantasy elements and one, well, they both, I guess technically they both have fantasy
They
elements.
merge, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
One world where is ruled by magic and sorcery, one where it's a normal Earth for the most part. We get to see a main character who has returned to Earth after a long period of time.
Yeah, I guess the best way to sum it up, it's like the reverse of like a lot of those Japanese stories. I can't remember.
Isekai is the name of the genre. I don't know if anyone watching it would get that, but reincarnated in another world or transported into another world.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of that.
He was transported, but now he's back.
Like it doesn't focus on his. I mean, I guess you see increments of his time there, but it mainly focuses on him coming back and dealing with the situation that arises.
Yeah, for this series, we're probably going to do Volume 1. This will be a full review, a little bit of a longer video, and we'll move on from there, depending on how you guys like this series. I really liked someone who likes the isekai genre or, transports to another world, I did like the concept of this. I would have to say that Volume 1 surprised me, and to detail that surprise, Josh can talk a little bit about the plot.
Yeah, so this takes, it takes place, like Michael said, in a modern world, and you get to see this family, and it has, it's like a husband and wife and their two kids, and for the life of me, so we have the father, whose name is Aaron, we have the wife, whose name is Wendy, and then we have the older brother, whose name I always have to look because I never remember. Yeah, that's right, Brendan, and his younger brother, who's maybe about like 7, 8 years old, and that's Mikey. And they're getting ready for his birthday party. Aaron is out with Mikey, taking him in the park, throwing a bit of catch. He's on the phone with his wife, and Mikey's ball goes like into the forest, and he goes to retrieve it. And when Aaron goes, he's gone. He's just nowhere to be found. And so, you get to see like the months go by later, like we go back into like a year later. The police have tried to find him. They've even accused like the father of like killing him, and or
the
kidnapping
wife was
somewhere.
like, "Yeah, you probably killed him."
Yeah, the wife didn't believe him, so they split up, and the father's a wreck, and Brendan is getting into trouble at school, and after like a few weeks of it being after like the year anniversary, we get to see this battle-hardened, huge like Viking like muscle head of a guy just show up in the park. And he actually gets into the police custody, and they're like, yeah, he claims to be your son. And they're like, no, there's no way that could be our son. He's got to be playing some sick joke. And they're like, no, we ran the DNA test. Like,
he's definitely your son.
Yeah, he's definitely your son. So they're trying to figure out that. And the whole time, they're like, we think he's kind of a danger because he's got all these weird weapons, and they're all like, fancy-looking items. And he's going on about, like, how he was spawned into another world, and they're like supposed to be like the savior of this world. He was like the chosen one, and he's like, yeah, I defeated that guy, now I'm back, I want to see my parents now. And so you get to go into that, and he's actually back for a purpose. He does want to see his family, but he's actually supposedly telling them that he's got a threat that he's got to take care of, that there's somebody that wants to bring that world over into this world. And he's like, I can't let that happen, so I got to defeat them. So he enlists, his family to kind of help him with that. And there's a few surprises along the way of his motivations or like, what he says that he's connected to. And it's pretty interesting. I don't want to give it away here, but that's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, so from that summary, you do get the gist of what happens. I would say the tone and overall direction the series is going does change once you get to know a little bit more about Mikey and what happened to him or what may have happened to him and what his situation in life is at the moment when he returns back. So we won't get into too much detail. But what were some of your favorite moments from this volume?
I really like when he's breaking out of places. You just get to see
the power within to resist guns.
Yeah, basically. And it seems like, being in other worlds kind of, I guess, beefed up his body in terms of, supernatural type resilience. So that's really cool to see that he's just not a normal dude. He's actually somebody that's like, he's basically, I guess if you want to put it into something that's probably easy for anybody to relate, he's kind of like Thor in the sense of like his power level. Maybe not to that extent, but kind of around there.
Yeah.
And I really like the kind of turn on its head that the story does at the end, because you think, because even though this is an interesting take for like probably American comics, this is kind of maybe not so interesting to people that read more Japanese stuff, but it's got an element in it that I think flips on a head that even people that read that kind of genre and from those kinds of stories can find something refreshing about this one. And as far as like the characters, I think all of them are interesting. The fantasy element, especially when they do the backstories or maybe like snippets of storytelling, I like that a lot as well.
Yeah, there's some great action scenes. I assume it's in this volume because I've only read the first one.
Yeah.
With the guy with green powers.
Oh yeah.
Won't say more than that, but yeah, there's some great scenes with him. There's some great scenes with interactions between the family. The dad's definitely the best bro of all time.
Oh yeah.
Supporting his son, even though his son is older / the same age as him now.
Yeah, there's a great scene. That's actually a really great one where like they're meeting him for the first time behind the glass, and he's like, "That's my boy," and the wife is like, "What? What do you mean? Like, how the heck could you know that?" He's like, "A father knows his son."
Yeah. There's some great moments like that. We'll have to see how that progresses in the future. Overall, Volume 1, it's a tough one for me. Looking at my rating or thinking about it. There's some elements I really liked. I really liked the family dynamic. I like the main character, at least what he appears to be from the beginning. Mm-hmm. I like the dad, definitely is helpful. The I guess older brother, he's the older brother, who's younger. I think he's going to play an important role throughout the rest of the series. Mm-hmm. And one thing that is unique. Well, not completely unique, but somewhat unique about this is that you do have a time, I guess not really a time skip, but like time dilation between the two worlds where the son is 20-something now. There's like, I like the plot, and there's some like serious things that I'm excited for, but it'd be funny to like see him get reintegrated to the modern world. It's like, oh, we have cell phones now? Cool. But
Peter Quill.
But yeah. The only negative elements I have is I didn't like the turn, I think, as much as Josh did. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm still floating in the miasma of should I continue to watch this series, or I guess read it. Watch myself read it. Hey, that's a good live stream idea.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so I think I'm still going to continue to Volume 2, and I'll give it a chance. But the twist, it's not what I expected, and I think that contribute to my rating. I won't give my rating here. We can see what Josh's comments are specifically.
He wants me to go first because he's going to teeter off of that. He's like, "Oh, he went lower than I thought." Oh, okay.
I can go lower.
All right. Well,
I have a number
for me. Michael's said, and I've said previously, there is a lot of elements that I like. I like the balancing between the modern and the fantasy. I think the storytelling, the way it's done, and then the things that it plays on is really well. Also, another thing that I think is really important about comics, or at least when I pick comics, is the illustration, the artistic, the way it's drawn. Mm-hmm. And this book is really well illustrated. It's really crisp. I'll just say that. There's a lot of vibrant colors, and the action, it just makes the action scenes and the dialogue really pop for me. So there is some things that, the first volume moves a little bit slow, but I think that's okay when you're, starting off a series. As of right now, I think it's worth it. You should definitely check out to see if you like it. For me, I'm interested going forward with the series, see what it brings and evolves, and how characters change depending on what they learn, and looking to see what it brings.
Yeah, so just to surprise Josh here, I also will rate it a worth it. Looking at the series, I think it is, by definition, worth it. I think it's a good world to look at, see if you like it, and then Volume 2 is already out, correct?
There's a lot of volumes out, which is why I picked this series, because we can just go...
Yeah, so read along with us. We'll probably have Volume 2 out eventually. But
I've read it. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. It's spoiler. But yeah, I think this is a good series to start. If you like some of our other stuff, if you've seen our Overlord videos or watched the show, if you've watched, I'm trying to think if we have any. I guess that Slime anime. The time I got reincarnated as Slime. It's
Ari Feretta.
Ari Feretta. Yeah, it's kind of a continuation of those shows in the sense that it's a similar genre. So I think it's if you're gonna check out one particular comic, if you know you're getting introduced to comics or you like anime content and you of that the shows that I mentioned, but you haven't got a lot into American comics, I think this is a good place to start.
Yeah.
It's a natural transition, and if you like comics, well then
it's got a familiarity with an American spin on it.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
what we like.
And if you like our comic content, I think you should read this one as well and read along with us. There's a lot to read, so we'll see you next time.
All right. See you, Addicts.